Well, greetings, pinball fans. Welcome to another episode of Alpha Bravo Pinball. Today in the shop series, we're going to be working on a wonderful machine by Stern Pinball, Iron Man. We're going to do a few upgrades. We're going to fix some things. I bought this machine secondhand. There's some things I'm not too happy about that we're going to correct. So yeah, let's get it started. First things first, we're going to work on the display speaker panel here, and we're going to upgrade the speakers, and we're going to change the display. So let's get it started. Of course, we'll turn the machine off. Doing both live stream here, and if you're watching on YouTube, I'm going to basically take the relevant segments, piece them together, and try to make a nice edited down video if you want to watch on YouTube after. So here it is. First, get into the back box. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm using a new wireless mic. If you're on the stream live, give me a shout hello, just to make sure the everything is working. And we'll put some cloths down on the side rails here, and the speaker panel just lifts right out and pops right down. It's very, very easy. So now it's where I can show off my picture-in-picture. Hopefully we can switch this over to the detail cam. Yeah, look at that. So let's try to aim this a little better so you can see what's going on. This is the back box. Speaker panel, this speaker display panel, and we've got two speakers here, and as you can see, these are the stock speakers that ship with the machine. They are not the highest quality things in the world, and we have this as the factory display. We'll take a look at that more in detail as well. So first things first, we're going to start. Going to grab my 1/4 inch nut driver, and we're going to remove the factory speakers. The whole thing should just plug and play. I'm doing a Flipper Fidelity speaker upgrade, and I just bought, they sell kits with the wiring harnesses all made for you, so it's literally plug and play. What I've done is made my own wiring harness since I have the connectors on hand. It's a pretty easy thing to do if you want to do it yourself. And right there's a fail. It's not a 1/4 inch, it's a 5/16. That should come out now, I believe. Yep, there you go. So here are the factory speakers gone. So in their place, I'm going to be doing these nice Flipper Fidelity speakers. They're two-way speakers with mid-range driver and tweeter. We need these little standoffs to be able to fit them properly. So we'll go ahead and install these. Alrighty, so we've got our upgraded speakers, and they provide these little spacer things that we'll go ahead and use. I'm not sure how much of a difference they make for sound, but might as well use them since they came in the box. And that'll go on here. Okay, so now let's see if I can get a view of this. Yeah, look at that. You can see it pretty easily on the camera here, how the tweeter actually sticks out from above the woofer underneath it. So that's why you need a spacer there. So let's go ahead and place these guys carefully here. I want to poke through the speaker cone. And this is my my homemade wiring harness. It should work. It should be good enough. So they're just wired in parallel, and then that I had the right connector on hand. I made this beforehand because crimping wires is not exactly the most fun thing to watch. So I made that ahead of time, and now these are all tangled. All right, that's better. And that'll just connect right up to the factory connector in the game. So very nice. All right, now we just need to tighten those down, and we'll have the speaker upgrade. At least in this, there's 3 speakers in the game, of course. There's another speaker in the cabinet. We'll do that one next. should be okay. Alrighty, so we've got the speakers in. I'm not going to route those just yet through the little wire holders there. First, we'll work on the display next. Okay, so there's all the hardware for the display. Now we should be able to pull that display out. There's a little piece of cardboard on the back here. I guess we can just take the whole thing out together. Alrighty, there you go. So you can see how this is made on the detail cam. It's a bunch of individual, I don't know if you can see the individual squares. Probably if I move it around to the light there, you can. It's a bunch of individual kind of multi-LED, what are they, 8x8, something like that, squares, and they're all put together in a matrix to form the DMD. This, of course, is newer technology still than old Williams games, which use plasma displays. And I think Stern, of course, used them for a long time, too. Okay, and under here is a red clear plastic. So there's these spacers. We'll take the spacers out. And then there's a red clear plastic. We're going to be replacing this red clear plastic with a clear plastic. Of course, because it's going to be a color screen. I'm not quite sure why they need a red clear plastic like this when the LEDs themselves are red. Maybe it helps diffuse the light, or I'm not sure, but okay, so we'll move the box there. All right, so we have our clear, the thing that I just unwrapped, and these are the notches that I was talking about that I'm not sure if they go top or bottom, but maybe it just doesn't matter. That's the other possibility. All right, so next thing is 1/4" spacer, and they're not in the little bag, so that must have been the spacers that I removed from the original factory display. And how many of those do I have? 6. So 6 means 1 on each screw. Alrighty. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so this is the other thing that I bought, which is kind of optional. But this is a gasket that fills the void around the display. And I'm guessing I'm going to have to put this down sooner or later. And it's not going to be in the instructions because it's an optional add-on. But we'll hold on to that for now. Okay, so after the 1/4" spacer go 2 washers, which appear to be included in this little bag of goodies that I got. And in this is, just so you can see what's in there, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 tall standoffs and 4 short ones. And so this is where the center 2 studs are not going to be used. I believe the way that it mounts is it's only using the 4 exterior mounting points. So, okay, we'll put our 2 washers per. Okay, so after the 2 washers come the small standoffs. All right, we'll get those monkey tight. And the reason you need these, of course, is because those studs are poking out in the middle. You need to elevate the display off of the speaker panel for those the studs in the middle to not basically go through the LCD screen, because the LCD screen on the ColorDMD is physically larger than, it's not just the size of the panel the way the original display is. So we need to elevate the panel away from these studs for that reason. So now after the short standoff, so the only parts I have left in my hand are these long standoffs. But first we're going to put the ColorDMD on there. That's the next step. And here's where hopefully I don't... it's kind of scary, but yeah, you want the ColorDMD resting on these guys and not touching this. So we should be okay because I've done everything according to their directions. But I'm going to be super careful nevertheless. We're in business now. Yeah, it's very, very tight along this channel here. But once it's actually sitting down on all 4 studs, it's clearing it with less than a millimeter to clear. So that's why that was difficult to get in there. But the good news is I have it on all 4 studs now. It's all the way in, and the studs in the middle are nowhere near touching. And now is where I realized, of course, we forgot this thing. That is clearly meant to go underneath the display. So, well, I just have to undo the work that I did. There's one missing. Okay, all right. So not so bad. Probably the second time it'll be easier, which is the good news. Am I crazy, or does that not fit correctly? Wow, that's weird. That totally does not fit. Do I have to stretch it? Oh, I probably have to stretch it, yeah. Good thing this material is stretchy. Yeah, this part, this gasket thing is totally undersized, but it's stretchy enough material, so no big deal. Okay, and that will provide a nice seal preventing light leakage around the display there, because of those spacers, of course. You can get light leakage if you don't use that gasket. It's not a must-have, it's a nice-to-have, but it was a fairly inexpensive upgrade, so what the heck, I did it. I sprung for it. All right, now let's see how I can do this. Like, rotate it in. There you go. It is easier the second time, it turns out. Sometimes, you give it a little force, and you don't want to damage your machine, so it's always better to go slow and easy the first time around. Okay. Oh, I see what's going on. I was like, why am I installing standoffs instead of nuts? So if you look at the, let's see if I can show you this guy. The thing at the top here is not a nut, it's a standoff. And the factory nuts end up being unused, and I'm pretty sure it's because there's not enough clearance. The studs are very close to the edge of this bracket here. Maybe you can see it better on this side. I'll get to that side in a second. I'll show you what I mean. So, yeah, they're held in by studs. Interesting. Clever design there, ColorDMD. So no clearance issues with the speakers, which is really nice. The Flipper Fidelity speakers and the ColorDMD display are 100% compatible, looks like. And I think we're almost done in the back box here. So we have our new speakers wired in with the connector that I made. We're going to put in, of course, we need to find pin 1 on this guy to make sure we're connecting it the correct side. That board should have a silkscreen pin 1 indicator. Oh, there is. Yeah, look at that. There's a little triangle underneath there. That's got to be pin 1. So, which means like this. This connector will go both ways. It will not work if you get it the wrong way, so make sure you do it correctly. There's almost always indication on the circuit board itself of which is pin 1. And on the cable, as you can see, there's a little, well, maybe you can't see. There's a red stripe. The red stripe indicates pin 1. Okay, so now it's time to open this bag of goodies here. And what do we have? We have a big, long power cable. So it looks like this board cannot tap into the same power that the factory screen uses, which is unfortunate because then that would really make it plug and play. And I mean, it's basically the same connector too. So you think, oh, I just connect this right here. It's the same connector, but look closely. Looks can be deceiving. This is a 4-pin connector. You can see there. 4-pin connector, and the first and fourth pins are actually wired. There's 2 wires, pin 1 and 4, pin 2 and 3 completely unused. Whereas these connectors, there's 1, 2, 3 pins together, and then the 4th is unused. So regardless of which orientation you plug that in, only one pin would make contact, and of course, one pin doesn't make a circuit. So it's clearly it's pretty obvious you cannot use this factory connector. I'm gonna just go ahead and unplug that because we don't need it anymore. All right, and we've got what came in the kit is this big long cable, and so it routes to an available connector inside the cabinet. Now there's two power connectors here. One is labeled power and the other is labeled AUX. I'm going to go ahead and assume we want to connect the one that's called power. I think that's a pretty safe assumption. And then this long thing here will get routed through the channel to the cabinet, and we'll go ahead and fish that through and grab it from there. All right, so what do I have left over here? I have the little wiring channel things for the speaker wires, and I have the nuts for the original factory display and two spacers left. There's not really a good place. Oh, you know what? Maybe we can... Oh, I would need to find a screw. I could mount these guys right here on the spacers, but I would need to run inside the house and grab the correct screws, which I don't have handy, so we'll skip that for now. It's totally not needed. It just means that I have this speaker wire a little bit loosey-goosey there, but that's all good. Not the end of the world. I think we're done in the back box, folks. We have our speakers connected. We have power and data. Let's go to the manual to make sure I didn't forget anything. So the data cable for the called display, yes. And yeah, the next step after that. So we've got the power cable. Oh, the ground. I forgot the ground. Let's see. There's got to be a ground cable for the new DMD. Maybe, is it in the box of goodies? I think I have one though. Yep. Yeah, look at that. So I'm going to go ahead. I didn't see it in the instructions, but of course I'm reading the instructions while live streaming. Okay, so now we're in business. Not explicitly there in the instructions, but I went ahead and used this green grounding cable to ground the ColorDMD chassis to the factory grounding strap right here. And with that, I think we're done in the back box, so we can reassemble. And make sure you don't pinch any wires. And yeah, the speaker wires, I need to get them back there. All right, so now I'm just going to lift it to make sure, yep, there's no wires in there. And we're all good. We're done. Maybe you can't see on the, let me just adjust the camera here. As you can see, it just pokes out the top, the LCD. So that's why it's in that orientation, and of course not 180 degrees rotated. And as for the two notches in the clear plastic, it's a mystery, folks. Whatever we did worked, so we're I'm not going to mess with it. But yeah, I don't know why there were notches there. Maybe the notches are there for a different style of game, different style of a panel. I don't know, but okay, job done here. What time is it? We have time a little bit. I'm going to show you. I don't know if we'll have time to finish it, but we're going to do the speaker in the cabinet next. Alrighty. So bear with me as I'll switch back to the single cam. Is there a setting on the display so it only shows the part visible through the viewing glass? That's correct. Yeah. In the artwork, of course, for the game is not going to be on the full LCD. It's only going to be using that part of it. And there's settings in the ColorDMD. It's to set the offset. you know, in case, depending on how it's mounted, and in different games it might be mounted, you know, a little bit less high or more high. And so there are settings to change the offset to kind of move it into the viewing window so you can see everything. Absolutely. Good question. Alrighty, so let's kind of pull the playfield. I've already removed the balls, so that's not a worry. And now, actually, did you see? Right back here, the wire that I was fishing through for power just fell down into the cabinet there. So, alrighty. So now we're going to raise the playfield. And here's where I'll show you the speaker in the cabinet. But before I do that, I'm going to reach in there, grab the power wire for the ColorDMD, and pass it underneath the playfield. It routes to the front of the cabinet. So while I do that, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so now we're looking inside the cabinet, and here is that speaker wire, or sorry, the power wire, I should say, for the ColorDMD. And it routes to the front, and there's a connector right in here that it's literally just plug and play. Okay. Alrighty, so now our ColorDMD should have power. And then the only other thing that I was going to do down here is take out the cabinet woofer. Again, it's kind of, you know, a low-cost unit. Nothing wrong with that, you know, but we can do better with a nice upgrade. So go ahead and clip. I could unsolder these, but honestly, I'm not too fussed about losing a 1/4 inch of wire. There's no connector on this game, unfortunately, so I'm going to go ahead and clip those wires there. And then we have 4 nuts to remove, probably the same old 5/16. Okay. Pretty sure I'm going to reuse those factory nuts, so I won't lose those. And yeah, this thing it's light. It's not heavy at all. Like the magnet on it, I'll just show you the side by side. The magnet on it is pretty tiny compared to the upgraded unit. Okay. So you can see this part with the red, that's the magnet, compared to, you know, that, which is the magnet there. This thing, I would say, is this guy here is probably 3 times as heavy, maybe 4. I don't have a scale out here, but it's it's just a night and day difference. And this should give us a nice upgrade. Okay, camera angle is just fine. You can see great. I'm glad. It's definitely, you know, doing this as a live stream is not the easiest thing in the world, but I'm doing what I can. And so this guy just drops in on the factory mounting points and uses the same factory studs. Oh, that's going to be really hard to do, though. Normally there's let me just show you how this works before I install it. This guy here, there's 2 ways to install it. You can, I don't know if you can see, there's little spades here, these little metal spades. You can drop the wire directly on those with connectors, or this little green block, you can stick the wires directly in there, and these are like screw terminals. Basically, there's screws there. So after you put the wire in, use your screwdriver, and by turning in the screw, it clamps down on the wire. That is almost always what I use. But in this case, because I don't have a connector on this wire, it's going to be near. I mean, the hole you stick the wire in is teeny tiny, and it's going to be near impossible to get the wire in there unless I stick my head like straight into the cabinet. So I think instead I'm going to use I don't normally use these, but because there's no connector on the wire and I do have the connectors, why not? We will crimp on. We're going to use these guys instead. You could solder the wires on, but I have the connectors for them. They came in my kit, and so, well, hey, I have them. Why not? And the benefit there is it's a lot easier to crimp that wire. It's a lot easier to crimp the wire, you know, with poor visibility than it is. Okay, yeah, so you can just see that. So I have that much slack. I have maybe 6-8 inches of slack total, so I just need to find the right tool to do the crimping here. If you want to see what the connectors look like, they look like this, and they're basically, you know, this part here goes on the spade, and then you stick the wire in there and just clamp down, ratchet down on there, and that's all you need to do. I have the tool right here. It's a good thing about my toolbox is right here. I wasn't expecting to do this, but hey, we're doing it live. That's how it works. All right, so the other thing that I'm going to need is a wire stripper, which I also have. Highly recommend this set of, or, you know, Klein Catapult is what this one is. It's kind of like dual action. When you squeeze down, the jaws come in, and then here it grips on the actual wire and then separates. So it's all kind of just one squeeze and you strip your wire. They're so nice to use and so precise. Highly recommend if you don't have a set of these. So I'm guessing these are probably 16 or 18 gauge. I'll go with 16. Yep, that worked. Start big and then go small, because if you start too small, you're going to cut into the copper, which is bad. So start big, and if it doesn't strip anything, then just go down size by size. Assuming you don't know what size wiring you're dealing with, of course. Okay, so now I've got my wires stripped. I know it's hard to see, but we're going to insert these connectors, and then use this guy. Can you see what I'm doing? Yep, you can. A little bit. Just pull down. Not too hard, because you can snap the thing. And then just give it a little tug to make sure it's secure, and you're all good. So yeah, this is going to be way easier than trying to stick the wires into the little screw down, the little green block. Okay. All right, so there's number 2. That should be it. I think we're good. All right, so before we forget, I'm just gotta install the nuts holding down the woofer now that it's in there. All right, so we've got the 4 nuts holding the speakers down tight now. And you definitely want that thing not loose, not just sitting there, because it's a powerful speaker. It'll vibrate quite a bit. All right, so now we just need to push the connectors down. The white stripe is the negative on this connector, as per the instructions, which I read before. And we're going to go high. There's 2 terminals for the positive. There's a high and a low, which basically controls the volume output of the speaker, and so you can choose whether you want big bass or not so big bass, and I'm going to put it on high. All right, that's it, we're done. Okay, so I'll get this camera out of the way here. All right, let's see if we did it. I always hate doing that, but that's how you do it. You just smash it in there with force. Alrighty, so we're going to turn the machine on. Moment of truth. Well, let me put the back glass on, because otherwise the light of the back box is going to blind the camera. So I'll go ahead and put the translate on. We're going to turn the game on. Will there be a puff of smoke? Will we blow a fuse? Stay tuned and find out live on Alpha Bravo Pinball. No smoke. Aha! Okay, so the display's all garbled, which is probably expected because we haven't updated the firmware on it. And so well, there might be some camera blinding involved here, unfortunately. Now is time to update the software on the display for Iron Man, because it's still right now running the software that it had on it before, which is probably one of the older games that I had. So there are buttons here. Okay, perfect. Just reaching in there to see where the buttons are. So right on that board, there are 4 buttons. I'm trying to reach for them. All right, here they are. And the buttons are, oh, there you go. So can you see that? Yeah, okay, so the display is definitely working because once I got into the menu, oh, it's set to STTNG. Haha, that's hilarious. Okay, so the update procedure is, oh, I kind of wish that I had done this before, but so you get yourself a USB thumb drive, and you download the ColorDMD file for your particular game from the ColorDMD website, and then I'm going to stick the drive in here, and then the next thing I'm going to do is go read the instructions because I don't remember what to do after that, so bear with me. Press and hold the left button for 5 seconds. I think that's all you need to do. It's pretty easy. You put the thumb drive in, press and hold the left button for 5 seconds, and that should be it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the display went black, which probably means it's updating. We'll just leave it be. How long does this take? I have no idea. All right, we'll go to the website, and we will, while this is doing its thing, support, firmware updates for older displays, which is what this is. All right, save the ROM. Press and hold the left button for 5 seconds until the backlight turns off. Okay, we got that far. I did that. Wait for the backlight to turn back on. Okay, so if the backlight does not turn on and the program light is repeatedly flashing, the ColorDMD file was not found on the thumb drive. That, yeah, I might have not saved it correctly, so it's been at least 30 seconds now. Whoa! Whoa! Look at that. I spoke too soon. Look at that. Beautiful! It's working! Fantastic! That was more than 30 seconds, folks. Is it just me? We can go back and watch the video to check, but yeah, that's all it took. So beautiful. It's now 100% working. So now we're going to adjust the vertical offset. And we will... Yeah, it's it's probably hard for you to tell. No, you can see on the screen. The entire image is shifted up too high, so that's what we were talking about earlier. For each game, you can kind of adjust the up-down. We'll see if we can figure out. All right, so contrast, I'm definitely going to crank that up to maximum because it'll look nicer. Backlight. Oh, it's backlight. Never mind. I did it. Contrast. It's backlight that I want cranked up. Okay, style.xl is good. Vertical adjustment. Okay, so now we're going to move this guy down so that we can see. I love that the vertical adjustment is a hex code, 0D, 0C. That's hilarious. These guys are total programmers. It's awesome. I mean, I say that in a loving way. I think I can, maybe F is a little bit too low. All right, we'll go with E. E works, yeah. See, and you can see on the camera there's these horizontal lines, and you want to just make sure that you can see both of those, and you're all good. And okay, I think that's it. Save and exit, yes. No, I don't want to save with. Did it revert? This UI is definitely fiddly, but I know what I wanted. It's just, was it E or F? I can't even remember. Save and exit. Yes. Saving. Oh, there you go. Okay. All right, we're done. So ColorDMD is verified working. How does it sound, folks? That's the $1 million question. Does it sound good? Well, I'm going to reinstall here. Why don't we do it proper? The speakers aren't going to sound the same without the translate there. So I'm going to reinstall the bulb. I'm not going to skip any steps here. Reinstall the bulb. This is just push in and twist. Very easy to install. We'll get the translate back on there. And we will try to see how it sounds. And of course, that probably won't come through so well through the microphone, but I will give you my commentary on the sound quality. All right. Okay, so we've got it on. Let's. Oh my goodness! Oh my goodness! This is completely different. It's. I know you can't tell, but man, there is just so much more bass, and the highs are so much more clear. I mean, I'm just going to go ahead and let everyone know I'm a huge fan of Flipper Fidelity speakers. I have them on almost all my games. I've heard all the others, and nothing compares in my book. I am not sponsored by any means by Flipper Fidelity. I'm just a big fan of their products. I pay for them with my own money, and they're worth every penny in my book. So there it is, folks. That's it for part one. We got through 2 of the 3 items on our checklist for today. We've installed the ColorDMD. What we did is we took a ColorDMD that was in a Williams game, and we got the adapter kit to be able to mount it in this Vault Edition Iron Man with a nice gasket. We updated the software on it, and it's all working and beautiful. And then we upgraded the speakers from the stock Stern speakers to Flipper Fidelity units, and that's it for now. Please stay tuned next time, and we will work on the playfield. So we didn't touch the playfield today. There's a few things that I want to do there. And so, yeah, hope you can join me for part 2. And that's it for now. Bye, everyone. Thanks for watching.